Hey y'all, this Big Pimpin' 504 back at you. Yo, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, just confirmed what I've been telling y'all for the past several months. Yo, you gotta check out this clip real quick to understand what I'm talking about. Check this out. I don't know who needs to hear this, but deflation just began in the banking system yesterday, June 1st, 2022. Keep it pimpin'.
Imagine if I listen what a hater gotta say. I never give a broke bitch any time of day. You ugly when you jealous, bitch. Look at that.
Okay, so how did BlackRock verify this video? Simple. In the video, I state that deflation began in the banking industry June 1st, 2022. Now, that alludes to the fact that the central banks are creating these economic events that we're experiencing deliberately. Now, notice I said that deflation began in the banking industry July 1st, 2022. What I didn't mention is that deflation began in the shadow banking industry in February 2021. So there's two type of banking industries. You have the traditional banks and then you have the shadow banks. The traditional banks, they get their capital from deposits. The shadow banks get their capital from investments. A shadow bank can be anything from a venture capitalist firm to a hedge fund to a mutual fund. Anybody that's lending money or giving loans that get their capital from investments are considered shadow banks. Now, why is this important? This is important because back in 2015, shadow banks comprised of 40% of all U.S. credit. Now, Dietrich Muhammad created a report back in May 29th, 2015 called Capital Flying into the Shadows, where he hypothesized that an actual capital flight occurred from traditional banks into shadow banks due to QE as well as bank regulations. Now, in my last video, I talked about how bank regulations are going to be used to knock out competition in the cryptocurrency market and how bank regulations have been used to knock out competition in the banking industry. In fact, it was the Dodd-Frank Act as well as the Volcker Rule, along with the stress test that knocked out a lot of smaller independent community banks out of the industry so that the bigger banks can take over the banking industry. And we've seen this go into play. Now, the stress test, or the SCAP, which is an acronym which stands for Supervisory Capitalization Assessment Program, utilized imaginary scenarios that had real life consequences for these smaller banks. And what I'm alluding to is that FTX situation is being used to do the same thing. They want to impose regulations to knock out the cryptocurrency players in order to bring about their central bank digital currencies. And I go into more detail about that in my last video dealing with the African cryptocurrency market, but I'm not going to go dive deep into that just yet. But the point of the matter is, BlackRock just stated that central banks are deliberately causing recessions. Now, how are they doing it? This is how. In this time period, we're undergoing deflationary period while interest rates are being driven up and faster than ever before. Now, in that report, Capital Flying into the Shadows, he states that the Federal Reserve is using two tools to create this effect. The first tool affects the traditional banking industry, and that's the selling of treasury bonds. Now, they tell you treasury securities, but it's actually 30-year treasury bonds that they're selling in order to get liquidity from the market outside circulation. They want to bring liquidity out of circulation or to increase the value of the currency. Now, what is the value of the currency? The value of the currency is its purchasing power. That's the value of a currency. So when you take currency out of the market, out of circulation, you have a higher demand for that currency, which creates a higher value of that currency, which makes the purchasing power of that currency stronger, because now it takes less currency to purchase the same product or service. So when you do that as a company, prices are going down, so you're making less revenue. But interest rates are going up. If interest rates are going up and you're using some type of leverage, then your debts are increasing. So you're making less revenue while increasing your debts. That right there is what causes a so-called credit crunch, liquidity crunch, and you're going to have a very much of a financial crisis because of that. Now, those are the same conditions that caused the so-called financial crisis of 2008, which, by the way, was predicted by the same author in his economic report 2006, where he predicted October 2005 that these things were going to occur, and he gave you the exact conditions that were causing them. So, but y'all go ahead and look it up yourselves. Dietrich Muhammad is the name of the guy. But anyway, he was telling you how the feds were literally selling treasury bonds, billions at a time, which would cause the currency in circulation to come back out of circulation so that the purchasing power of the dollar will go up. Now, so pretty much, nutshell, the things that is used to attack the traditional banks are the Fed fund rate increasing while deflationary pressure is being applied, which he stated, in that book, in which I stated in June 1st, 2022, was occurring. Now, there's another tool that is designed to attack shadow banks that does the exact same thing. It's called the reverse repo. Now, the reverse repo facility is designed to where they would lend, the Federal Reserve would borrow money from the money market dealers. They will borrow money from them, and then they will pay them back a yield that is much higher than any other dealer can offer them. Not only that, they give them a risk-free asset as collateral for their loan. They give them treasury bonds for their loan. So as a money market dealer, that's a no-brainer. As a liquidity dealer, that's a no-brainer. Why would I go to any other dealer in the money market when I can go to the Federal Reserve, they borrow my money from me, give me a high yield, and then I got a risk-free asset to hold on to while they have my money? It's a no-brainer. And the Federal Reserve back in 2015 knocked out a lot of broker-dealers in the money market. So that's the tool that's designed to go after the shadow banks, because, I mean, if I'm a hedge fund, if I'm an institutional investor, and we're in a period where liquidity is really, really important, and I will lend you my money, and you'll give me a higher rate than everybody else. On top of that, I have a risk-free asset to hold on to as collateral? Come on. It's a no-brainer. And any other dealer would have to compete with that, which they can compete, but they would have to compete with that to make money in the market, and they can't do it. So it creates a floor. So with that being said, that's the tool that's designed to bring about the same result in the shadow banking industry. Why are they going after the shadow banking industry? Because back in 2015, they comprised 4% of all U.S. credit. So they're going after credit and liquidity. Those are the targets. And they have two tools to do it. Now, this also explains why the Fed was raising rates, or have been raising rates at the rate that they're going. They're raising rates high real fast. And why? The reason being because they're trying to catch up to their other facility, the overnight reverse repo facility, which has been at play since February 2021. So they're playing catch up, to create the condition they're trying to create. But as I stated, BlackRock just confirmed what I said in the previous video, that deflation began on June 1st, 2022, and that the central banks are deliberately causing recessions. And the crazy part is this. In In another report by Dietrich Muhammad called Feds, WTH, or What the Hell, also written on the same day, May 29, 2015, he actually said that they'll have double impact because you have these two tools. Same result as the so-called financial crisis of 2008, but double the impact. Well, BlackRock says it's going to have double the length of time that we'll be in recession because the Fed, or central banks in general, so they didn't just mention the Fed, they said central banks, so this is a global situation, are deliberately causing recessions, and it's going to be much longer than what we're used to. And I can see why this is happening. They're doing this simultaneously because they know a lot of people are going to put their money in crypto. And they're knocking out, they've been knocking out for the past, I think, 3 years. They've been going after a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges. They've been going after a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges, knocking them out, knocking them down. They went after BitMEX, of some BS using the Bank Secrecy Act, pretty much weaponizing American investors. That's why now a lot of crypto exchanges, they don't want American investors because of this. They're weaponizing American investors. You have an American investor, then the SEC can go after you. And not only are they going after various exchanges, they're also going after various cryptocurrencies. That's why you see the situation between the US government and Ripple. They're going after them. Why? Because they want to be the only game in town. They want to usher in their central bank digital currencies, which, by the way, are programmable. Meaning they can trace every single transaction that you make, when the whole point of having a cryptocurrency is to not have your transactions monitored. Not only that, they can actually control your wealth using the central bank digital currencies, which is the whole purpose of us going DeFi, so that we won't be controlled by external influences over our money. So, but the reason why they're doing this, again, they're creating a liquidity situation so that you won't have capital. And if you have capital, it's best you hold it. That way you can purchase assets at a much cheaper price than what you're getting today. But they want to go after the capital and the credit. That's the target. And they also want to create a situation to where you won't have any refuge other than the central bank digital currencies. In fact, if you read the Fed's WTH report, you'll see that he also talks about the SOMA, which is the Systems Operation Marketing Account, I think it's called. I could be wrong, but it's SOMA. But either way, that allows liquidity from various banks to go into the Federal Bank of New York in order to enable liquidity to be accessible whenever there's a liquidity shortage. Now, why would there be a liquidity shortage? Unless you're doing the very things that are causing the liquidity shortage. Hence, the central banks are deliberately causing recessions. So that's all. I just wanted to just take the time out just to let you know that BlackRock just confirmed what we've been saying here on the Pimp Report. So keep posted. We got some new videos coming out real soon. And real soon we'll be launching our NFTs. So yeah, just keep it pimping. Hey, if you like this video, please share, smash the like button, and subscribe. You can find me on TikTok at BigPimpin504. You can find me on YouTube at PrettyRed504. And you can also catch our new website, thepimpreport.nft. Yes, thepimpreport.nft. We're doing it Web3, y'all. And yes, we will be selling NFTs. Now, our NFTs are different. Something never been done, ever. Our PMAs are going to be structured as NFTs, so not only will you benefit from the content of the PMAs, but you'll be able to trade them. Tradable PMAs are the future of DeFi. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon. You'll get exclusive content, be the first to see our videos, and also our patrons will be the first to learn about the NFTs when they come out. I'm only doing 100 a pop. So only 100 people on the planet will be able to get access to his NFTs, and our patrons will be the first to know about it. So it'll be in your best interest to join our Patreon ASAP and take advantage of these NFTs. Be seeing y'all soon. Keep it pimping.